Emily here with Remax Universal. You may have been seeing headlines or news articles about how there's a housing war going on between older generations and millennials and things like that. And there's kind of a spin that's been put on this, and I'd like to bring in a little dose of data, me being the data person as I am. So I'm going to switch the screen here in just a minute. So here's the spin on it. It's almost as if these articles are trying to imply that cash buyers are somehow being mean and not letting other buyers get homes. So just looking at the data, the next slide here, you see that the oldest generation here, they call it the silent generation, 53% of them did pay cash for a smaller home. Now, if you're in your 80s and you have a great big old two-story house that you can't manage anymore, is it really your fault for paying cash for a house that's smaller, that you cashed in the equity on your big old house and now you can afford cash? I don't think it's your fault. Then we look here and we see boomers, both of these lines, and then we see millennials and Gen X. So these are the percentages of generations that paid cash. I certainly don't feel like I can blame anybody who had a saving mindset and paid off their mortgage and now they want to downsize. I can't blame them for wanting to pay cash for a smaller house. So here's the next slide. The share of buyers who purchased with all cash. By household comparison, look at this. Single women were the biggest percentage. Are we going to be against single women paying cash? I hope not. And then married couples following closely behind, then single men, and then unmarried couples. So this is the data. Now here's the takeaway. I don't see much downsizing in this area yet. I'm sure that there are parts of the country where they've seen this phenomenon, hence all the big news articles about the housing war. But around here, even people in their 80s and 90s are still staying in their original homes. A takeaway for someone who is a buyer, especially first-time buyer, please, please, please be willing to get into the housing market at the first-time buyer level. It usually does not work to try to get into the housing market at the fourth or fifth level, as it were, of buyers. Sometimes skipping one step works. I've had some people that were first-time buyers that bought a second-time buyer type house because they had enough money. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I just recently sold a house over $900,000 to a first-time buyer. But most people don't have the money, and I would beg you to be willing to get in at the level you can, because house prices, where's my little cursor here? House prices typically always increase. Don't wait. Please don't wait and let your savings be outstripped by inflation or increasing house prices, which can be the same thing, but not always related, because house prices went up even when we had low inflation. So that's my takeaway here. This is Emily Matthews with Remax Universal, here to help you with all your real estate needs, serving the Tri-County area of Calumet, Manitowoc, and Sheboygan counties. Have a great day.